Once upon a time, in a vast and thriving kingdom, there lived a frog and an antelope. The kingdom was a land of harmony where animals of all kinds coexisted peacefully, each with its unique talents and traits. Frog was known for his cleverness and quick wit, while Antelope was celebrated for his grace and speed. The two animals, despite their differences, had formed an unlikely friendship. Frog and Antelope spent their days exploring the kingdom, playing games, and engaging in friendly competitions. Frog, with his small stature and powerful legs, could leap great distances, while Antelope, with his long legs and slender body, could run like the wind. They admired each other's ability and often challenged one another in good-natured contests. One day, as they were playing by the edge of the forest, Antelope said, "Frog, you are an excellent jumper, but I would like to teach you how to run. Running is my greatest strength, and I believe you could benefit from learning it." Frog, never want to back down from a challenge, replied with a grin, "Antelope, I appreciate your offer, but I believe I can outrun you." Antelope was taken aback. He knew Frog was fast, but could he really outrun someone as swift as himself? "Outrun me?" Antelope said with a chuckle. "That's a bold claim, my friend." Frog nodded confidently. "Yes, I can. Why don't we have a race to settle this once and for all?" Word of their challenge quickly spread throughout the kingdom, reaching the ears of the king, a wise and fair lion who ruled over the land. The king, intrigued by the idea of such an unusual race, decided to make the stakes even higher. He announced, "Let it be known that the winner of the race between Frog and Antelope shall receive half of my kingdom. I will divide the land, and the victor shall rule their half as they see fit." The animals of the kingdom were abuzed with excitement. A race between Frog and Antelope was something no one wanted to miss. On the day of the race, animals from all corners of the kingdom gathered at the starting line, eager to see who would emerge victorious. The race course was a long and windy path that stretched from the edge of the forest to the great river that marked the boundary of the kingdom. The king stood at the starting line, ready to signal the beginning of the race. As Frog and Antelope took their position, Antelope felt confident. "This will be over quickly," he thought. "I'm faster than anyone in the kingdom, and Frog will soon see that running is not as easy as jumping." But Frog had a plan. He knew he could never outrun Antelope in a fair race, so he devised a clever scheme to deceive his friend. Before the race began, Frog secretly placed his children at various points along the track. Each of his children looked exactly like him, and they were instructed to wait at the end of each segment of the track. With the king's signal, the race began. Antelope took off with a burst of speed. His hooves barely touched the ground as he surged ahead. Frog, as expected, was soon left far behind, but Antelope was in for a surprise. As Antelope reached the end of the first segment of the track, he was startled to see Frog already there waiting for him. "How did you get here so fast?" Antelope wondered, but didn't stop to ask. He continued running, determined to beat Frog. This pattern repeated himself several times. Each time Antelope reached the end of the tree, he saw Frog already there, waiting for him. Antelope couldn't understand how Frog was managing to stay ahead, but he was too focused on winning to question it. He pushed himself harder, running faster and faster. As Antelope neared the river, the final destination of the race, he was exhausted. His leg ached and his breathing was labored, but he refused to give up. However, when he reached the river bank, he saw Frog sitting there calmly waiting for him. Antelope was stunned. He had given the race his all, but somehow Frog had beaten him. Overcome with fatigue and disbelief, Antelope collapsed on the ground, clutching his stomach in pain. He had pushed himself beyond his limits, and now he was paying the price. Frog, seeing his friend in distress, approached him with concern, but before Frog could say anything, Antelope struggled to his feet and walked away, his head hanging low in defeat. He was too humiliated to face Frog, and the pain of losing the race weighed heavily on his heart. Antelope returned to his home, but he couldn't shake the feelings of shame. He had been so sure of his victory, yet he had been outsmarted by his friend. The more thoughts, the more he thought about it, the more he felt he couldn't stay in the kingdom any longer. He packaged his belongings and left his home, disappearing into the thick forest where he could be alone with his thoughts. Back at the river, Frog was declared the winner of the race. The king, however, was not as pleased as the other animals who had cheered for Frog's victory. The king had been observing the race closely, and he knew that something was not right. He had noticed that the frog at the finish line was not the same frog who had started the race. When the king confronted Frog about his tricky, Frog admitted to his scheme. He had placed his children at different points along the track to deceive Antelope, knowing that he could never win the race on his own. The king, although impressed by Frog's cleverness, was not pleased with his dishonesty. "You have won the race, but you did not win it fairly," the king said. "As punishment for your deception, I will not grant you the half of my kingdom that I promised. Instead, you and your children shall be banished from the village and must live by the river. You will no longer be part of this kingdom." Frog was saddened by the king's decision, but he knew he had no one to blame but himself. He gathered his children and moved to the river, where they built a new home from that day on. Frog and his children lived by the water, sometimes spending their time in the river where they could swim and leap as they pleased. As for Antelope, he remained in the thick forest, far from the kingdom he once called home. He learned to live in solitude, reflecting on the events that had led him there. Though he was sad to have lost the race and his place in the kingdom, he found peace in the quiet of the forest, where he could run freely without the pressure of competition. And so, the tale of Frog and Antelope became a lesson for all the animals in the kingdom. It was a reminder that cleverness and deceit, while they may bring short-term success, often lead to long-term consequences. The king's wisdom ensured that fairness and dishonesty were upheld in the kingdom, and the story of Frog and Antelope was told for generations, teaching young animals the importance of integrity in all they did. And so the kingdom continued to strive with its lessons learned and its inhabitants living in harmony. each in their rightful place. So guys, if you enjoyed this story and the lesson it offers, make sure to subscribe to our channel for more tales filled with wisdom and fun. Each story on this channel brings timeless lessons wrapped in engaging narratives. Don't miss out. Hit the subscribe button, leave a like, and share this story with others who love a good tales. Join us on this journey as we explore more folk stories that entertain, inspire, and teach valuable life lessons. See you in the next story. Bye.